What's going on, Stellar Crew? Bob MacArthur here for Stellarvue Telescopes for the October 2024 edition of In the Sky. So let's get to it. Holy cow, there's so much to see. It is a great time of year to view. You know, in October, we have the late summer constellations still hanging in there, like Cygnus and the summer fall triangle, I guess. And then some of our fall constellations are coming up, like Andromeda and Cygnus. We have the Andromeda Galaxy and some of those fall objects coming in, while the summer stuff is still hanging in there. So, oh my, and then not to mention, we have tons of solar system stuff. We have 2 meteor showers. We have Venus starting to come up. We have Saturn. We have a comet that could be amazing. And we have Jupiter and Mars in the morning sky. So there's just so much to look at this time of year, and not just this time of year, but in 2024. So let's get to it. Let's talk about what we got going on in the sky this October. It's a busy month. There is a ton going on. On October 5th, if you got a nice clear view to the western horizon right after sunset, the waxing crescent moon is right there with Venus. Now, the moon is just a couple of days past new, so it is going to be that nice crescent moon, and you're going to need a clear view to the western horizon to get the two of them there. Now, October 7th and 8th, we do have the Draconid meteor shower. So get to a dark sky site. From the city, you might see a few, but always for a meteor shower, it's good to get away from light pollution. The moon will be out a little bit, but should be setting, later, around midnight or so. So after that time, good, clear, dark sky, great, go for it. On October 14th, the waxing gibbous moon is near Saturn. Now it's fun to watch the moon make its appearance in the sky every month next to Saturn, and it's just great having Saturn in the sky. So check out that pairing on October 14th. Also on October 14th, comet C2023A3 is making its evening appearance. It's been visible before sunrise, but now it's going to make its show for us after sunset. We'll talk more about that later. Now, October 20th, 21st is the Orionid meteor shower. This is a great meteor shower. Can produce some really nice meteors. Unfortunately, the moon's going to be pretty bright, so getting out kind of to a dark sky site, you'll get some good meteors, but we will have to kind of contend with the moon for this year's Orionid. On the 21st, the moon now is in that waning gibbous phase, and it's going to be up there by Jupiter. And Jupiter's making its appearance. I mean, it's starting to rise around midnight or so now. So before you know it, Jupiter's going to be up in the evening sky. But right now, it's really nicely placed in the early morning sky. Same thing with Mars. And on October 23rd, the moon is going to be up there with Mars. So I've been looking at Mars here and there. It's starting to make a good little show for us. So speaking of planets and all that stuff, let's get there. Let's get to the solar system. Now, do I need to really talk about the sun? I mean, it has been just going. If you got a solar filter, the sunspots have been amazing. So check the sun out for sure. I really like going to spaceweather.com to kind of know what's going on with the sun. Also, the National Weather Service Space Weather website is great for knowing what solar storms we have going on, things of that sort. So great websites there. The planets, we're getting them. Venus is making its kind of debut in the evening sky. It's staying really low right now. I did get a shot of it in the daytime when I was looking at it with my students through the 80 millimeter back here, and we were able to get a nice small gibbous Venus. So Venus is great to look at. I would, if you can find it in the daytime, we can see it in the day. And the nice thing, it's kind of far away from the sun, so you don't even have to worry about it. But in the evening sky, right after sunset, it is hanging out really low. So have a good, clear view to the western horizon. Saturn, it's up, it's doing its thing, so check it out for sure. Again, it's kind of edge on rings. It's pretty cool. Through my 152, I can get some great views of the rings. You can start seeing kind of like a little bit of gap between the planet and the rings, and then the moons are nicely lined up with it. It's kind of fun to get that. Check out Sky and Telescope. If you just Google search like Sky and Telescope, Saturn's moons observing tool, it'll come up with a tool where you can find out which moons are which. Same thing with Jupiter. Sky and Telescope has a really nice Jupiter moons tool. And then as Mars is getting there too, they do a great job kind of showing us what features we're seeing on Mars too. So Sky and Telescope has some good tools for some planetary observing. Now, I don't want to try the name, but Comet C23A3 is up in the sky in October. At the beginning of the month, it's near the sun, so we're not getting any views of it. Through the month of September, it was kind of in the southern southern skies. It was doing a great show for the southern hemisphere, and it's faded out for the beginning of October. But in the middle of the month, October 14th, it's going to start making its appearance in the evening sky after sunset. If this thing holds together, it could put on a wonderful show. I mean, if you go to Space Weather and just look at some of the views they were getting of it in the southern hemisphere, our hope is that it stays together as it swoops back up into the evening sky after sunset for us folks here in the northern hemisphere or the high northern latitudes. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. Let's do this. So that'll be exciting. Now, for some of our other planets, I did, I'm excited about this comet. I really hope this thing pans out. Jupiter is starting to make its appearance around midnight or so. It's getting earlier and earlier as we get close to Jupiter opposition. And then Mars is also up there, a little nice dot. Jupiter's always fun to look at. Actually, I had the scopes out because I was trying to spot the comet before sunrise, and I got my 102 out and had some great views of Jupiter and Mars. So if you're one of those morning people, you definitely have some great planets. Uranus and Neptune are also up there. Uranus is fun to look at. You get a little green disk. So yeah, the planets are out. They're getting up there. They're getting out to play, which I love. I love looking at planets through my refractors. And then the moon. So what's going on with the moon? Now, last month we had a small little lunar eclipse. There's my picture I got of it with my 102. So nice shot there. There's your moon phases. New moon's right at the beginning of the month. So that's a great dark sky week, kind of week-ish. It's in the middle of the week. And then the full moon, October 17th. So there's your moon phases. And so let's get going. Let's talk about some deep sky stuff. What do we got for star clusters? Well, it's still, the Milky Way's hanging out at the beginning of October. So we still got a really good Milky Way from Sagittarius going up there through Aquila and Cygnus, and then jumping over to Cepheus and Cassiopeia. So there's still really a lot of good open star clusters to look at. So I got M39 up there in Cygnus. Nice little star cluster. I like the coat hanger. I know I mentioned it before, but it's a fun little asterism. So yeah, it's up there in Vulpecula. So check out the coat hanger. It's fun. Now I threw out some Caldwell objects. So check them out. We got C1, NGC 188. It's up there actually near the North Celestial Pole. Pretty cool open star cluster. Check that one out. Then we got a couple of open star clusters I mentioned in there, NGC 559 or 559 C8, Caldwell object number 8, and then NGC 663, Caldwell object number 10. So Cassiopeia's got some great open star clusters. You know, the picture I have featured here is M52 with the Bubble Nebula. So that's the other thing, is there are some great open star clusters in there, and there's also some really nice photogenic nebula up there in Cassiopeia and Cepheus. So check them out. And then we have our globulars. M15 near Pegasus. It's right off the star Enif, off the head of the Pegasus. And then down low in Aquarius, we have globular star cluster M2. So there's a good variety of clusters to look at right now. And I'd love to see what you guys get for some open star cluster pictures. So yeah, check those guys out. Now let's shoot on over to nebula. What do we got going on for our nebula this month? Well, again, we still have some of those great Milky Way, Sagittarius. Now, as the month goes on, Sagittarius is going to get deeper and deeper, closer to the horizon. But we still have those. I mean, right there, featured image, M8, the Lagoon Nebula, is still doable at the beginning of the month, depending on what your latitude is. The Eagle Nebula, made famous with the Hubble Space Telescope, the Pillars of Creation. And then you have M20, the Trifid. The Trifid's just a fun nebula to get because you get the emission nebula with the reflection nebula. But then as you snake on up through the Milky Way up to Cygnus, Cygnus has some great nebulas. I mean, we could just talk about the stuff that's up in there. I mean, you have the North American Nebula, you have the Pelican Nebula, you have the Crescent Nebula. There's a lot of really great nebula up there Cygnus. So like I mentioned, the Pelican Nebula, IC 5070, you have the Crescent Nebula, NGC 6888, or Caldwell Object number 27. Now, we mentioned some of the objects up there in Cepheus and Cassiopeia when it comes to star clusters, but we also have the Iris Nebula, which is a really nice little reflection nebula. Really good photographically. Visually, it's a little hard to get. So that's NGC 7023, or Caldwell Object number 4. So check that one out. Now, going back over to Aquarius, we have Caldwell Object 63, NGC 7293, the Helix Nebula. This, I think, sometimes gets overlooked because you have like the Dumbbell Nebula and you have the Ring Nebula, which are both still up. But the Helix Nebula is a really nice nebula. And throw a UHC filter or an O3 filter on that, it'll pop it out just a little bit. So great choice of nebulas this time of year too. And I mean, we're saying goodbye to our summer friends, but the fall stuff is coming up. So let's talk about galaxies. I really do like this firework galaxy, NGC 6946, Caldwell Object 12. It is a fun little galaxy to look at. So definitely check that out. And then we have Stephan's Quintet up there in Pegasus, which is also hanging out with NGC 7331, Caldwell Object number 30, which is our featured image. Oh my gosh, this image is unbelievable. I love how you got that little group of galaxies, the quintet there, and then that NGC object. Just amazing photo there. And we love getting your all's photos. So please send them in. Post them up on the chat. It's fun seeing what you guys are getting with your scopes. And I put it in there. Andromeda, it's coming up. Andromeda is going to be around for a couple of months. A lot of people like photographing the Andromeda galaxy. It is big. It is beautiful to look at. There's a lot of other really cool galaxies, but just, it's 2.5 million light years away. It's our closest next big galaxy to us. And as we're, the Milky Way and the Andromeda, a galaxy are kind of blue shifting towards each other with potential collision in about 5 billion years. So just saying hi to our closest galaxy neighbor. But then there's the Triangulum galaxy too, which is also one of our neighbors. The Milky Way, the Andromeda galaxy, and the Triangulum galaxy are all part of this, local group of galaxies, which contains, 30 to 40, depending on what you read, galaxies. But the Triangulum, the Milky Way, and Andromeda galaxy are the bigger members of this group. So galaxies are out there, and there's a few other little ones out there. So getting some fun galaxies this time of year. So let's talk about binaries. I actually have some observation notes because I really do like this month's binaries. Actually, the first one we're going to talk about, Iota Cassiopeia, is a tight triple star system. So depending on your seeing conditions, which will help you with your resolution, with my 152, I was able to kind of break the three apart. So you have two companions that are about the same brightness, but all three of them form kind of a right triangle. With the primary. The primary is kind of a yellowish white, and the companions are blue and yellow. So look at it, see if you have seeing that can break it apart, and then see what colors you get. So I love it when you can get a triple star system or a multiple star system to look at. Just, again, kind of shows everything's there, gravitationally bound and moving around. So let's talk about 57 Aquila. This is a nice, just binary, easy to separate, white pair, about the same magnitude, one slightly fainter than the other, but just a really nice binary pair to look at. And then if you swing on over to 36 Andromeda, this is just a really tight yellow pair. So, depending on your seeing conditions and what scope you're using, see if you can split it. What do you get? What do you see? And then the last one that we're going to talk about there is Eta Cassiopeia. This one is nice. I really like this one. You have a bright yellow and then a faint rusty companion. They're a close pair with a nice magnitude separation. So you got a fainter secondary with a brighter primary. So like I try every month, I try and find something fun and, you get just really nice solid binaries to maybe a challenging close pair, triple star system, nice coloring. This is what's fun about binaries, is there's so many of them out there, and then just trying to find nice combinations. So yeah, those are the binaries for this month. So here we are, October. October is, I love October. It's my birthday month. And you know what's great about October is the fall weather's kicking in. You got the leaves changing. And just getting your telescope out there to view the planets, because now we got planets out there, which is great. It's also a great month to get your neighbors involved. Sometimes just your neighbors kind of see out there, like, what is that person out there with their telescope? But it's Halloween. Last year, I set my 152 up and showed the trick-or-treater Saturn, and it was a hit. Some of the parents were like, no way, I can't believe you can see the rings. So it's a great outreach month, too. So get out there, get your hoodie on, get your flannel on, share your hobby with your neighbors and your friends. Comet, if this thing happens, I love comets. So it's a great month, a lot going on. We really appreciate y'all tuning in every month. If you like what we're doing with our In the Sky podcast, please like our YouTube channel, subscribe to it. Shoot us some suggestions. Email your images. We want to build a community because that's what the Stellar Crew is. So again, thanks for tuning in and have a wonderful October and enjoy, hopefully, the cooler weather. I guess in the Southern Hemisphere, enjoy your warmer weather. All right. Thank y'all. Keep looking up.